Hello everybody and welcome to the third episode of this series of videos Aprendiendo inglés en casa. I hope you're all healthy and doing well in these hard times. And today I'd like to speak about a very frequent topic that I have to deal with in my classes. In my years as a teacher, I've heard this all the time. Oh, teacher, I tried to watch this movie in English yesterday, but I couldn't understand anything. Or I'm watching this series in English and I just get bored. I can't understand anything, so I just end up watching it in Spanish. So let's explore and discuss this topic today. Well, I have my own theory that I'd like to share with you today, as long as some tips that I'd like to give you. Well, to begin with, in my view, most people's frustration usually comes from trying to measure the experience of learning a language, the process of learning a language, with the same stick for everybody. That is, watching a movie can be useful for you, but not for your friend. Or maybe your friend's level is higher, so he benefits more from watching the movie. That's one thing. Another element is that people lose their patience and get a bit upset when they're watching a movie and they start losing plot. They start, getting lost. Well, if that happens, take a breath and remember, you're observing a new situation with a lot of information and you're not part of that situation. So I think that's make it more difficult to follow what's happening. Then comes the problem of language, grammar, accent, vocabulary. And in those cases, you should be very aware of what type of series or films you're watching. Let's take the example of the series House. Imagine you're not familiar with medical language. As you can imagine, watching that series will be a challenge for you. Or if you want to watch Game of Thrones, you can get lost at some point, and you have to remember that it's kind of okay, especially at the beginning, because we are in a fictional Middle Ages universe with different conventions, a lot of different customs, and many characters and new places. So, how can you not lose your patience? Well, first of all, you have to be very determined about your learning experience. And you have to be ready to lose the game. Yeah, it's hard to accept it, but you have to accept a possible defeat. We humans always want to win, and we always want to obtain maximum benefit immediately. And if there's something we're learning from the current situation, it's that some things just cannot happen immediately. Some things take time. Learning a language is one of those things. And especially when we speak about a skill that is on average more difficult, basically because we're not surrounded by English-speaking people all the time, and we're not listening to English every day in our houses, in the streets. Secondly, you have to be okay with not understanding 100% of what you hear. I know it is annoying, it is frustrating, but frustration is part of the learning process. And you don't have to forget that words are not the only way to obtain information. You have the image, visual support that can help you understand. Finally, I'd like to speak about the very controversial issue of subtitles. Yeah, subtitles yes or no? I must say there's no simple answer to this question. Of course, if you really want to improve your listening skills, you want to work on your listening skills, my answer is no subtitles. But this is relative. Let's analyze why. Take with an example, yeah. Take a professional sports person, someone whose entire career is devoted to sport. Do you think that training always involves high intensity activities? No, of course not. We could say that, depending on your level, of course, but we could say that watching a movie or a series completely in English would be the equivalent of a high intensity training. It's not something you should do every day, and it's not something you should do all the time. So watching a 2-hour long film that turns into a constant struggle, to understand, to work out what's happening, maybe is not the best activity and the most motivating activity to learn English. So try to change to other videos, short series, simpler series, for example. So as you see, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And this is a little idiom I give you today, which means that there are many ways of doing something. Just analyze what best works for you. You could try to vary between, high intensity training one day, in other words, so watch a whole movie in English one day, and then the next day you watch another movie with English subtitles on, or half the movie with English subtitles and half the movie without English subtitles. Or maybe you could choose a series with daily situations rather than watch something that is more complex because of the plot. And the most important thing, in my opinion, is that you have to be gentle with yourself. You don't have to push yourselves too hard. And you have to enjoy the learning experience, because it's never going to finish. I'm sorry. So that's everything for today. I hope I helped you to deal with your struggle in learning English a little bit. Remember that if you liked the video, share it with you can share it with your friends and family. And another thing, remember our photography contest at GetBrid is still going on. So don't forget to share your photos while learning English at home on social media with the hashtag YoAprendiEnCasa. And well, that's everything over here. Stay safe and see you soon. Goodbye.